Hey, it's Garrett,
It's Andrea.
and welcome to the Daily Devotional.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have a story for you.
So we went to this discipleship program, and your parents brought you. Everybody said their goodbyes, and then they said, "Hey, we're gonna go to the campgrounds. Let's go to the church campgrounds. We'll all meet up." So we go out there, and
We get in the church vans.
Yeah, no, we drive out there in our cars.
No, I was in a church van. What were you in?
I was in a truck.
Oh, no, I was in a church van.
I was in the back of a truck.
Really?
This is getting weirder.
It is,
We weren't even together.
We weren't even together. No, I was in a church van.
So they say, "Hey, let's load up. We're going to go out to this place and have a bonfire or something like that." And so we loaded up, and they said, "Oh, we're going to blindfold you just for fun." And we were like, "Okay." We should have thought something of that.
Well, here's the thing. The place we ended up going was an hour and a half, almost 2 hours away.
Yeah.
Out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And so after we get off of the main road, that's when they blindfold us, and they pulled over on the side of the road, and they and then we got out of our vehicles, and they dropped us off actually in the woods. We had to cross over a fence. I didn't know if
And that's not where I was dropped off.
Where were you dropped off?
I was dropped off in they took us out in a field up onto some wooded area and just dropped us off on the side of the woods.
No, I remember a 2-lane highway, and we had to crawl over the fence, and then we were dropped off in the woods.
No, that's not where I was dropped off.
That's crazy.
So as you can tell now, we were dropped off in the woods.
Yeah.
It was not a bonfire.
Right.
We were all dropped off.
And there was different groups.
All the new people.
Yeah.
We were all dropped off in the woods.
And so
Yes, in groups.
yes, and in separate groups. And the challenge was we had to find our way in a place we've never been before.
Some of us have never been to the campgrounds.
We had to find our way to the chapel, to the actual campgrounds, by just getting there somehow.
Yes. And we were with people who we didn't know, but we were one of the very last groups. One girl, she had an asthma attack in the woods, and they were like, "You're fine, you're fine." And I'm walking with her, I'm like, "She's not fine."
Yeah.
It was horrible.
It was actually pretty crazy now that I think about it.
Yeah.
But we didn't, we didn't know any different. And they put us in teams. They gave us team leaders. It was a race to get to the thing.
We got, sorry.
You go ahead.
We got back, and they had relay races for us to get through. Do you remember this?
I blocked out a lot of this.
It was soda and disgusting food. That's whenever I threw up. I was so hot and overheated.
That was the same night?
Yes. When we got back, I threw up in the bowl, and that's when my roommate didn't know I had thrown up. I tried to tell her, and she ate the throw up in the bowl.
Yeah.
We were bonded. We've been bonded ever since.
Yeah. It's just crazy. Don't get us wrong. We're not complaining about this.
I'm definitely complaining about this.
I mean, there was a level of fun to it.
Was there? Because I didn't have any fun.
But I don't think people do things like that anymore.
People shouldn't do things like this to begin with. They shouldn't have done things like that in the first place.
Yeah.
That was insane.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I don't know. That is, I know we hadn't been there before. We could have ended up on somebody's property. That was insane. What?
Right? Yeah, we
could have got. Imagine?
They had this is what's crazy too. Smartphones weren't a thing yet.
No.
There was
we didn't have our phones.
We didn't have our phones.
They took our phones.
I didn't even think about this. There was no GPS location of there was none of that.
My phone back then was a green screen. I didn't even have a Nokia. Nokias were the cool thing when it was that's right when the color screen phones came out for Nokia. I still had my green screen phone.
I forgot all about that. Yeah, so there was a level this. We really had to find ourselves.
Yeah.
But here's what's crazy. I guess there was a level of danger. We weren't in.
You guess.
We weren't in any danger. This is nothing compared to Matthew chapter 24 and all the things that Jesus is talking about in the future of what people will face and things they'll go through, the end of days kind of stuff, and things leading up to that. There is no comparison to that. And I know a lot of people like people seem to be on two different sides of this, like talking with the end of days. They seem to be a place of like we just don't talk about it, and it'll pan out and we'll figure it out. And then you have people that like it consumes, their life. It's hard to find people right in the middle of it. But it's just crazy when you're reading through Matthew 24. It can be scary if you don't know, if you don't have that peace and you don't know that God's going to take care of everything. But I don't know, the way you grew up too, we really kind of both grew up with this understanding. But sometimes these were your bedtime stories.
Yeah, we joke about it. We joke that Dad would read rapture stories to us before bedtime, in the twinkling of an eye.
Right.
And you'd lay in bed and you'd blink your eyes now. God, I'm sorry. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry. Don't forget me. I don't know. I think I'm one of those people, I absolutely love to learn about these things, but I'm also in the here and now, and I trust that God, because it's not the right now. I truly believe that He has a plan, and He still has purpose in all of us to go out to reach people for Him, for His kingdom. And so, there's so much when we read this chapter, it can be really overwhelming. And there's so much that we could definitely dig into and get into. And I think it's very important as a believer to do that. But I also believe that at the same time, we need to remember that our feet are planted on soil right now, and that we aren't to forget that we have purpose right now to go into all the world and preach the gospel. And that's super important when you read this, to remember these are things for us to know, for people who are new to believing in Christ, for them to know as well.
Yeah, have the understanding. And one of the main ideas that Jesus is bringing up here is saying there will be signs, but He also says that no man, not even the angel or the Son himself, will know the actual day or the hour. And so I think there's people that waste a lot of their time trying to figure out exactly when things are going to happen, or they start to see something in the world go weird or sideways, or they talk about, this will be the next world war, and this this will lead to that. And the reality is we really we can only see and understand just in part of it, and we really don't know exactly when all of this is going to take place. And so that's like what you said. We have a job to do now. We know, we can see signs, and we can know that, man, Jesus is getting obviously closer and closer to coming back. And we know that things like that can happen. But to try to figure it all out and put a timeline on it is something that we shouldn't do. And to worry about all of this is something that we shouldn't do. But Jesus put this in place, and He put all this out here to show us, to say there will be signs. This is something we shouldn't worry about, but we should stay focused on the things God's called us to do.